I dropped 5 million to customize a perfect SS rank succubus. And my stepbrother, Lu Mingxian. Since we were kids, his greatest talent has been stealing my things. This time, he intercepted my delivery, unboxed it right in front of me, and signed the blood contract. Brother, the first to unbox a succubus becomes its master. She's mine now. He didn't know that the surprise in that box was something I had prepared especially for him. My name is Liu Pei, the sole heir to the Liu Corporation. The year after my mother passed away, my father married a new woman, and he brought back a son just a year younger than me, Lu Mingxian. From that day on, my life became a farce. Lu Mingxian is the ultimate two-faced manipulator. In front of others, he calls me brother. Behind my back, he sets traps for me at every turn. My father always said I was being paranoid, that as the older brother, I wasn't magnanimous enough. Bullshit. If I weren't magnanimous, would he have been able to strut around like this until now? Recently, I got into custom ordering succubi. I dropped 5 million to have an SS rank succubus customized to my specific tastes. The online shop's customer service said she could fulfill all my desires, both decent and indecent. It made me look forward to the day of her arrival with immense anticipation. But Lu Mingxian sniffed it out and came looking for me. He carried a plate of sliced fruit, smiling harmlessly. Brother, what have you been busy with lately? I didn't even lift an eyelid. He leaned in closer, his voice lowered to a whisper. Brother, I heard you ordered something good. Is it a succubus? My heart sank. I had only discussed this matter with customer service. Who did you hear that from? My voice turned cold. His eyes darted, and he immediately put on that signature innocent expression of his. Oh, brother, don't misunderstand. I was thinking of buying one too, so I came to get some advice from you. His acting only made me feel more disgusted. Suddenly, I remembered an unwritten rule in the Succubus online shopping community. First unboxing determines the master. When a succubus is awakened from its slumber, it will form a contract with the first person it sees. Alarm bells went off in my head. On the surface, however, I remained impassive, merely waving my hand for him to get lost. After he left, I immediately contacted customer service. Is there any way to bypass the first unboxing rule? Customer service replied instantly. Dear, this is a succubus's instinct, but there are always exceptions. What kind of exception? I perked up. If a contract has already been established with a succubus before the unboxing, the first unboxing rule will be voided. She will only recognize you as her master. How can a contract be established in advance? Customer service sent a mischievous, smiley emoji. That's a trade secret, dear. But since you're our valued SS rank customer, we'll make an exception for you. We have a special item that allows you to resonate your soul with the succubus before she awakens. I sneered inwardly as a plan instantly formed in my mind. Excellent. Send it to me at once. The next day, 2 trucks from different succubus delivery companies pulled up to the Liu family villa at the same time. Lu Mingxian was like an excited dog, circling the enormous, temperature-controlled metal crate. The gilded logo of the shop I ordered from was printed on the crate's body. Brother, your succubus is here. I signed for it for you. He smiled harmlessly, but his tone was as flippant as if he were declaring his sovereignty. At the same time, a bodyguard carrying a tattered cardboard box threw another delivery at my feet. Dust flew in my face. I came down from upstairs, my face an icy mask. Lu Mingxian, who gave you permission to touch my things? He laughed dramatically. Brother, don't be so stingy. What's yours is mine, isn't it? He patted the magnificent metal crate smugly. As for this SS rank succubus, this little brother will graciously accept her. He crouched down, pointing to the tattered cardboard box by my feet with a look of both pity and ridicule. Oh, right. I prepared a gift for you, too. Cost me a fortune on the black market. They say she severely injured 3 previous masters, a defiant and defective product. Brother, I think this kind of trash is what suits you best. I put on the performance of a lifetime, feigning absolute fury, my chest heaving violently. I'll only say this once. Give me back my succubus. Yours. He laughed, even more brazen. This was exactly tailored to my preferences. The perfect SS-class succubus. Yalan Shah. Lu Mingxian's eyes nearly popped out of his head. Holy crap. This is too much. Enchanted, he reached out a hand, wanting to touch Yalan Shah's face. Just as his fingertips were about to make contact, Yalan Shah's eyes snapped open. In those bottomless pupils flashed extreme disgust. She raised her hand and swung. Smack! A crisp sound rang out. Lu Mingxian was sent flying by a tremendous force, tumbling awkwardly to the ground over 3 meters away. A bright red slap mark bloomed on his face. He was completely stunned. What are you doing? I'm your master. He clutched his face, roaring in furious humiliation. Yalan Shah slowly rose to her feet, looking down at him coldly. Her voice was hoarse and utterly emotionless. Sorry. Reflex. I'm going to take a cold shower to cool off. With that, she walked straight into Lu Mingxuan's room and slammed the door shut. Lu Mingxuan's face turned livid, but in his simplicity, he assumed this was just the personality of an SS-class succubus. Instead, he rubbed his hands together, growing even more excited. It ignited a fierce desire to conquer in him. He climbed up from a floor and saw the mix of expressions on my face. Pretentiously dusting himself off, he burst into arrogant laughter. See that, bro? Even if she hits me, she's 100 times better than your trash. You can hug your worthless junk and cry all you want. He chased after her into his room, leaving only me and the abandoned cardboard box in the living room. The anger and humiliation on my face nearly broke through, but the moment Lu Mingxian closed the door, it quickly faded. Lu Mingxian, of course I saw. That surprise in the box was something I specially prepared for you. In the living room, only I and the discarded cardboard box remained. I kicked open the box's flap. A faint smell of blood wafted out. Inside, a frail figure was curled up in the corner. Her body was covered in blue and purple bruises. Her black succubus wings were tattered, as if torn apart by force, and her slender tail was severed halfway. She lifted her head, revealing a pair of amber eyes filled with wariness and fear. This was the trash Lu Mingxian used to humiliate me. I crouched down and reached out my hand. Don't be afraid. I won't hurt you. Before my fingers could even touch her arm, she flinched violently, a low growl of threat rumbling in her throat. I didn't force her. I just left my hand hanging in the air and spoke in the gentlest voice. You're hurt. You need treatment. She stared at me intently, unmoving. I withdrew my hand, stood up, and fetched a first aid kit and a clean towel. Then I poured a glass of warm water and placed everything beside the box. I'll leave these here. It's up to you. I'm going upstairs. I won't disturb you. After saying that, I turned and left without looking back. Then I sat on the second-floor balcony, pretending to enjoy the view. But out of the corner of my eye, I kept watching the movements downstairs. It wasn't until about 10 minutes later that the small figure finally peeked out from the cardboard box. She cautiously scanned her surroundings. Only after confirming it was safe did she limp out, pick up the glass of water, and take small sips. Then, using cotton swabs and ointment, she clumsily treated the wounds on her arm. Because of her injured wings, she couldn't reach the wounds on her back. She gritted her teeth in pain, but made no sound. Watching her pitiful state, something in my heart twisted sharply. I stood up and went downstairs. Hearing my footsteps, she immediately shrank back into the box like a frightened rabbit, only her eyes visible, staring at me in terror. Let me help you. I raised the ointment in my hand to show I meant no harm. She didn't respond, but she didn't growl threateningly again either. I walked over slowly and crouched in front of her. Turn around. She hesitated for a long time, so long I thought she wouldn't agree. But in the end, she slowly, almost reluctantly, turned around, exposing her scar-covered back to me. On it, old wounds layered over new ones, a horrifying sight, especially the tattered wings, their roots mangled and bloody. My movements were gentle. I used a towel soaked in warm water to wipe away the blood, then carefully applied the ointment. Her body was tense as a rock, trembling slightly with every touch. After treating her wounds, I draped a clean t-shirt over her. What's your name? She remained silent for a long time before answering in a voice so hoarse it was almost inaudible. Subai. Subai. That's a nice name. I nodded. Are you hungry? I'll make something to eat. She didn't speak, just silently hugged her knees tighter. I went into the kitchen and cooked a bowl of steaming vegetable porridge. When she was brought out, she was still in the same position, I placed the porridge in front of her. Eat. You need strength to recover. She looked at the bowl of porridge, a complex mix of emotions flashing in her amber eyes. After a moment's hesitation, she picked up the bowl and scooped a spoonful, carefully bringing it to her lips. The porridge was hot, but she didn't spit it out. She just breathed out quietly. A single tear, without warning, slipped from her eye and dripped into the porridge. Why are you so good to me? She looked up, her voice choked with sobs. Because you're not trash, I said calmly. You were just hurt by the real trash. Su Bai's face instantly turned pale, her body trembling slightly. She suddenly wanted to explain something, but didn't know where to start. You don't have to say anything. I interrupted her. You did nothing wrong. You were just protecting yourself. With that, I got up to leave. Get some rest. You can do whatever you want here. No one can force you to do anything you don't want to. As I reached the top of the stairs, I heard a very faint voice from behind me. Thank you. Meanwhile, in Lu Mingxuan's room, he had just finished showering and came out wrapped in a towel. His face, still bearing the red mark of a handprint, was beaming with triumph. Yilan Sha was sitting on his bed, sizing him up with a scrutinizing gaze. A jolt of heat went through Lu Mingxian. He thought she had come to her senses. What? You finally know who your master is. He rubbed his hands together and walked over, reaching out to wrap his arm around her waist. Yilan Sha sidestepped him without a trace of effort and stood up from the bed. I'm hungry, she said coldly. Hungry? Easy. Lu Mingxian was overjoyed. Don't all succubi feed on their masters. Before he could finish, Yilan Sha cut him off. I want to eat food. She pointed to her stomach. The food that humans eat. Lu Mingxian was stunned. Eat. Food. You're an SS-rank succubus. What kind of food do you need? You won't get it from me. Yilan Sha tilted her head. She licked her scarlet lips, her gaze sweeping over his body with clear intent. Then I'll just have to find some sustenance myself. That look, it was the coldness of a predator eyeing its prey. Lu Mingxuan's scalp tingled instantly, a chill shooting up from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. There was something wrong with this succubus. But captivated by her stunning beauty, Lu Mingxian suppressed the strange feeling in his heart. Food, of course. What do you want to eat? I can get you a Manchu Han imperial feast. Yilan Sha reeled off a list of dishes. Australian lobster, Kobe beef, black truffle pasta, and a bottle of 82 Lafite. Lu Mingxuan's eye twitched. This wasn't a succubus. This was a matriarch he had invited home. But he knew not to sweat the small stuff. Swallowing the pain in his wallet, he ordered takeout. He watched as Yilan Sha enjoyed her feast with elegant grace, not once giving him a second glance. After the meal, Lu Mingxian finally couldn't hold back any longer and sidled up to her. Sha now, can we begin? Yilan Sha wiped her mouth and looked at him quietly. Begin what? Of course. Fulfilling your duty and letting me feed you. Lu Mingxuan's breathing grew heavy. Yilan Sha suddenly smiled. The smile was breathtakingly beautiful, but held a malicious glint. My food is energy that I absorb. As a succubus, I naturally feed on desire. She stood up, her long, slender fingers gently tracing a line across Lu Mingxuan's chest. But you have no real desire. The smile on Lu Mingxuan's face froze, and his mind suddenly went blank and muddled. You only have jealousy and an unfillable emptiness. Her voice was full of seduction, but her words were as cruel as a knife. You're jealous of your brother, jealous that he was born with everything. So you stole his toys, stole his father's love, and now you want to steal his succubus. You think that by taking things, you can prove you're stronger than him. Yilan Sha leaned in close to his ear, her breath like an orchid's fragrance. No, you're just a pathetic imposter who only knows how to imitate. An illegitimate son who doesn't even have desires of his own, who can only pretend to be alive by plundering from others. The words illegitimate son. They ripped open his deepest, most shameful insecurities for all to see. He stumbled back, his face ashen, pointing a trembling finger at Yilan Sha. You're talking nonsense. Shut up. Did I strike a nerve? Lashing out in anger. Yilan Sha chuckled, her eyes filled with contempt. What? Uninteresting energy. She flicked her hand in disgust. I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. She walked towards the large bed as if it were her own. As my temporary servant, you should proactively sleep on the sofa. Servant, I'm your goddamn master. Lu Mingxian completely exploded. Yilansha turned back and looked at him quietly. That gaze was chilling to the bone. Lu Mingxian could only watch helplessly as she occupied his bed, forced to slip out of the room in impotent fury. The next day at dawn, my dad and stepmother returned from their vacation abroad. Sporting two enormous dark circles under his eyes, Lu Mingxian rushed to them at the first opportunity to complain. Dad, Mom, look at brother. He's gone too far. I sat on the sofa to the side, watching the drama with a deadpan expression. When my stepmother, Lin Hui, saw Su Bai in the corner with her narrow, triangular eyes, her brow furrowed in utter disgust. Lupe, what is this thing? It's filthy and ugly. Throw it out immediately. Her voice was sharp and harsh, startling Su Bai into a violent shiver. I lifted my head and looked at her coldly. Her name is Su Bai. She's my family. Family. Stepmother Lin Hui shrieked with laughter, as if she had just heard the funniest joke of the century. Lupe, have you lost your mind? A defective product is worthy of being part of our Lu family. Mom, you don't know. Lu Mingxian immediately chimed in, squeezing out an expression of extreme grievance despite his dark circles, twisting the truth with embellishments. Brother originally ordered the SS rank Succubus, but he has no taste at all. He pointed at the trembling Su Bai in the corner, his heart aching. I kindly tried to tell him, but he insisted on picking up this piece of trash. Isn't this just a slap in the face to our Lu family? Just as he finished speaking, the door to a room on the second floor opened. Yawning, Yilansha leaned lazily against the doorframe, dressed in a fiery red silk nightgown. She didn't even glance at the farce downstairs, only saying faintly, Lu Mingxian, where's my breakfast? Lu Mingxuan's face instantly turned crimson, but he immediately pointed to her, as if showing off his prize. Dad, look, this is the SS rank. Noble, perfect, but brother would rather raise that kind of menace. My dad, Lu Jinhua's expression instantly darkened to the point where you could wring water from it. He didn't even spare Su by a glance, his eyes filled with disappointment. Lu Pei, is what your brother said true? I almost laughed out of anger. First, I was the one who paid for and ordered the SS rank. Second, he was the one who snatched her away. Finally, I will emphasize it one more time. Su Bai is not a menace. You. Lu Jinhua was rendered speechless by my retort. Lin Hui immediately came over, pulling on Lu Jinhua's arm, her voice soft as she stirred up trouble. Oh, honey, don't be angry. Pei Pei is just confused for a moment. Pei Pei, look how much Mingxian likes her. Just think of it as a gift for your little brother. As for your... She shot a disgusted glance at Su Bai. Since you like it, just keep it to yourself. Don't bring it out and embarrass us. Twisting the truth, singing in harmony. Looking at their ugly faces, my stomach churned. It's my thing. Why should I give it to him? Lu Pei. Lu Jinhua finally erupted, slamming his hand on the table and roaring, Must you fight with your brother over this? Do you still have me, your father, in your eyes? I'm not fighting with him. I stood up, looking him directly in the eye without backing down for the first time. I'm simply taking back what was mine to begin with. On the contrary, Dad, in your eyes, do you still have me, your son? Or is it that in your heart, only the two of them are your family? These words left Lu Jinhua stunned on the spot, his face alternating between shades of green and white. The atmosphere instantly grew heavy. Just then, Su Bai, who had been silent all this time, suddenly reached out a small hand from behind me and gently tugged on the corner of my clothes. She looked up and shook her head slightly. She was worried about me. Looking into her clear, amber eyes, my heart suddenly softened, only to be consumed by an even more torrential rage. I patted her hand reassuringly, then looked coldly at Lu Mingxian. You want the SS rank? Fine. The eyes of Lu Mingxian and Lin Hui lit up instantly. My tone shifted, a mocking smile playing on my lips. Bring me 5 million. You will buy her from me for the same price I paid for her. You. Lu Mingxian was so angry he was at a loss for words. This is extortion. Oh, I sneered. So, you mean you want her for free? Lu Mingxian, Why should I give you something I bought for 5 million for free? Because your piss is yellow? You, you just wait. Being countered to the point of speechlessness, Lu Mingxian could only leave a threatening remark. Watching the irreconcilable quarrel between us brothers, Lu Jinhua's temples throbbed with anger. He pointed a finger sharply at Su Bai and gave me an ultimatum. I'll give you one day to get rid of that ominous thing. Otherwise, get the hell out of the Lu family. The storm ended with my father, Lu Jinhua's roar. He slammed the door and left, leaving behind a crumbling home. I took Su Bai back to my room. She kept her head down, not daring to look at me. I'm sorry. Did I cause you trouble? How is it? Any better? I shook my head and took her hand, sitting down together. She nodded, saying softly, much better. Her wings were still very fragile, but at least they weren't the bloody mess they were when she first arrived. I took a tube of special ointment from my pocket. This is made specifically for repairing a succubus's wings. It might hurt a little, so bear with it. This is... Su Bai looked at the tube of ointment, her eyes filled with shock. Moonlight's heal? This is very expensive. No matter how expensive, it has to be used. I twisted off the cap. Don't move. As the cool ointment was applied to her wounds, Su Bai sucked in a sharp breath of cold air in pain, but she gritted her teeth and didn't make a sound. I slowed my movements, blowing gently on the wounds as I applied the medicine. Su Bai, I said suddenly, do you have any wishes? She froze for a moment, as if she hadn't expected me to ask such a question. She lowered her head and was silent for a long time. I want my wings to heal, and then... She looked up, and for the first time, there was a light in her amber eyes. I want to fly to a very, very high place and see this world. The longing in her eyes was so pure, it was heartbreaking. I looked at her and made a solemn promise. All right, I'll help you. That night, the sound of arguing came from Lu Mingxuan's room again. What the hell do you want? I provide you with good food and drink, and you won't even let me touch you. Touch you? Are you worthy? Yi Lanche's voice was filled with disdain. How am I not worthy? I'm the second young master of the Lu family. Second young master? Yi Lancha chuckled lightly. An illegitimate son who relied on his mother to get ahead and only knows how to play dirty tricks is worthy of being called a young master. This sentence accurately hit Lu Mingxuan's sore spot. You, what nonsense are you spouting? He roared in a fluster. You know in your heart whether I'm spouting nonsense or not. Yi Lanche's voice turned cold. Stop bothering me, or I don't mind letting you have a taste of what a true SS rank is. The sound of something being smashed came from the room, and then it fell completely silent. I leaned against the door outside, having heard the entire exchange, a cold smile playing on my lips. Yi Lancha, this succubus, was the natural enemy I had carefully selected for Lu Mingxian. Her SS rank ability was truth. She could see through all lies and disguises, and she would use the most vicious language to bloodily expose the other person's ugliest, most unbearable side. For a guy like Lu Mingxian, who lived by his green tea persona, Yi Lancha was his nemesis. More importantly, her other hidden ability, energy drain. She could cause the other person to generate immense negative emotions through verbal attacks. Then, she would absorb this emotional energy to nourish herself. And the person whose energy was absorbed would quickly become haggard, weak, and dispirited. I was going to let Lu Mingxian be slowly drained dry by the very treasure he had stolen. In the following days, the atmosphere at home became increasingly strange. Lu Mingxian grew haggard at a visible rate. His eyes were sunken, his complexion was sallow, and his temper grew more and more violent. The gentle and elegant disguise of the past was completely gone. At the company, he made several mistakes in a row and was scolded by Lu Jinhua several times. And the originator of all this, Yi Lancha, was radiant and became more and more beautiful and alluring. Her daily task was to find different ways to verbally provoke Lu Mingxian, belittling him to the point of worthlessness, and then peacefully enjoy the nourishment of his negative emotions. Lin Hui saw it all and was anxious in her heart. She found several masters who were said to be able to purify a succubus. As a result, they were all berated by Yi Lancha to the point of questioning their own existence and ran away in disgrace. She finally realized that this succubus was not something they could control at all. Lin Hui and Lu Mingxian did not sit back and wait for death. Their revenge came faster than I had imagined. In the afternoon, I was handling an urgent document at the company when the maid from home called, her voice choked with sobs. "Young master, it's bad. Madam and the second young master. They're going to do something to Miss Su Bai. Please come back quickly." My heart sank violently, and blood rushed to my head in an instant. I sped home as fast as I could. As soon as I entered the door, I saw Lin Hui and Lu Mingxian blocking the doorway of my room, their faces twisted in zhengning and triumphant smiles. Lu Mingxian held a paper talisman in his hand, muttering incantations, and Lin Hui was holding a cage-like magical artifact that emitted a golden light. My door was sealed by an unseen force. From inside came Su Bai's terrified screams and the sound of things breaking. "What are you doing?" Seething with rage, I rushed over. When Lin Hui saw me, not only did she not stop, she laughed even more maniacally. "Lu Pei, you're back just in time. This demoness of yours dared to steal the company's confidential files. I must get rid of her today," she screamed, activating the cage in her hands and slamming it violently against my door. Bang! A large hole was violently smashed through the solid wood door. Through the hole, I saw Su Bai curled up in a corner, trembling all over. Her wings, which had just started to heal, were torn again, dripping with blood. And on the floor in front of her were scattered a pile of files, the core data of the very project I was in charge of. Stealing files? I trembled with anger, a murderous intent unconsciously creeping into my voice. "Lin Hui, have you no shame? Su Bai never even steps out of the house. How could she go to the company to steal files? Who knows what demonic art she used?" Lu Mingxian immediately chimed in, a vicious glint in his eyes. "Brother, just admit it. This inferior succubus is a menace. Hurry up and hand her over for Mom to dispose of. Otherwise, she'll destroy the entire Lu family." Dispose of. I looked at the ugly expressions on the mother and son's faces and laughed in extreme anger. "Who do you think you are, daring to touch my person?" I kicked Lu Mingxian, who was blocking my way, aside and rushed into the room, holding Su Bai, who was trembling like a leaf in the wind, protectively in my arms. "It wasn't me. I didn't." She sobbed uncontrollably in my arms. I gently patted her back, my voice the only sedative. "I know. Don't be afraid. I'm here." Seeing that I refused to hand her over, Lin Hui's expression became incredibly ferocious. She took out her phone, made a video call directly to my dad, and pointed the camera at the files on the floor and the trembling Su Bai. On the other end of the call was my dad, Lu Jinhua's furious roar. "Lu Pei, I just received news that our company's server was hacked and the core data was stolen. Tell me honestly, does this have something to do with that succubus of yours?" "Dad, this is a frame-up." "A frame-up?" Lin Hui screamed, shoving the camera in my face. "Then how do you explain these files? Lu Jinhua, look at your good son. For a demoness, he doesn't even care about the company's interests. I don't care how you explain it." In the video, Lu Jinhua's face was distorted with anger, his voice filled with disappointment. "I'm warning you one last time. Get rid of that succubus immediately. Otherwise, get out of the Lu family and get out of the company. I, Lu Jinhua, have no son like you." With that, he hung up with a snap. On Lin Hui and Lu Mingxuan's faces appeared the twisted smiles of victors. They had won. Using the most despicable means, they had forced me into a corner. Holding Su Bai, I felt an unprecedented powerlessness and rage. After all this time, my dad still favored those two outsiders. Am I not his biological son? Su Bai lifted her head, looking at me with tear-filled eyes. Those amber eyes were filled with despair and a guilt that seemed to welcome death. "Lu Pei, just hand me over." She choked out the words, each one a test of my heart. "I don't want to drag you down." In that moment, I made my decision. I cupped her tear-streaked face. "I will not hand you over. Never. Even if it means making an enemy of the entire world, I will protect you." With that said, under the astonished gazes of Lin Hui and Lu Mingxian, I took out my phone and dialed a number. My voice was unnaturally calm. "Hello, is this Lawyer Zhang? It's me, Lu Pei. Help me prepare two things. First, call an emergency board meeting. I want to impeach the current chairman, Liu Jianhua. Second, Su Lin Hui and Lu Mingxian. The charge is corporate espionage and intentional injury. Lin Hui and Lu Mingxian were both stunned. They never expected that not only would I not yield, but I would choose the most aggressive way to fight back. Impeach your own father? Liu Pei, you're insane. Lin Hui shrieked. I'm insane. I sneered. I think you're the ones who are insane. Do you really think you can take me down with these dirty little tricks? My gaze swept over the files on the floor. Forging documents to frame someone. Lin Hui, this trick of yours. You used it on my mother 20 years ago, and now you want to use it on me? At the mention of my mother, Lin Hui's face instantly turned deathly pale. That was a thorn in my father's heart, and also her most untouchable taboo. You, what nonsense are you spouting? Your mother died of illness. What does that have to do with me? She shouted, her voice sharp but her eyes betraying her fear. You know perfectly well whether it's nonsense or not, I said, no longer wasting words on her. I picked up Su Bai and turned to leave. Lu Mingxian tried to block my way, but I kicked him aside. Get lost. I said only one word, and the murderous look in my eyes made him instinctively take a step back. I took Su Bai, and we temporarily checked into a hotel in the city center. Su Bai was in low spirits. She kept feeling that she had dragged me into this mess. Liu Pei, I'm sorry. She apologized in a small voice, sitting on the sofa and hugging her knees. You're not the one who should be sorry, I said, pouring her a glass of hot milk. They are. But the company's data. Don't worry, I was prepared. I patted her head. They think they can ruin me by stealing the core data. They don't know that the data was bait I intentionally planted. Su Bai looked up in surprise. Bait? Yes, I nodded. Data that has been spiked. Whoever touches it is in for a world of trouble. From the moment Lu Mingxian started acting strangely, I had anticipated they would do something desperate. I had the company's technical team create a set of core data that was indistinguishable from the real thing and embedded a special tracking virus within it. As soon as anyone tried to decrypt or sell this data, the virus would activate immediately. Not only would it lock onto their location, but it would also counter-invade, transmitting all the information from their devices back to my server. Lin Hui and Lu Mingxian thought their plan was flawless. Little did they know, they had fallen into my trap from the very beginning. The confidential file, in their hands now, was a hot potato, a ticking time bomb. The emergency board meeting of the Liu Group was held as scheduled. My father, Liu Jianhua, sat at the head of the table, his face ashen. Lin Hui and Lu Mingxian were present as family members, sitting behind him with expressions of people enjoying a show. They were certain I couldn't produce any evidence. This impeachment would only make me a laughingstock in the business world. Liu Pei, do you have anything to say? Liu Jianhua asked coldly. I didn't speak. I simply inserted a USB drive into the conference room's projection equipment. A video immediately appeared on the big screen. The video showed Lu Mingxian's computer desktop. He was chatting with an anonymous buyer. The content was brazenly about how to trade the Liu Group's core data. The price is negotiable, 50 million. Take it or leave it. Is the data authentic? Of course. My mom took it from my brother's study herself. The color drained from Lu Mingxian's face instantly. He stared at the screen in disbelief, his lips trembling, unable to utter a single word. Lin Hui panicked too. This is forged. It's slander, she shrieked, jumping to her feet. Forged? I smiled. Then is this audio recording also forged? I pressed the play button. A conversation between Lin Hui and Lu Mingxian immediately filled the conference room. Mom, will this really work? What if Dad finds out? What are you afraid of? I've already got your father completely wrapped around my finger. As long as we can completely oust Liu Pei from the company this time, the entire Liu Group will be yours in the future. What about that bitch Su Bai? Just looking at her is annoying. Don't worry. Once we've dealt with Liu Pei, Mom has plenty of ways to make her disappear without a trace. When the recording finished, the entire conference room was buzzing with surprised murmurs. All the directors looked at the ashen-faced Lin Hui and her son with expressions of shock and contempt. My father's body trembled with rage. He whipped his head around, staring deadly at the wife he had doted on for 20 years and the son in whom he had placed such high hopes. His eyes looked as if they could devour them. You too. He pointed at them, gasped for air, his lips turning purple, and fell straight backward. Chairman, call an ambulance, quickly. The conference room descended into chaos. Lu Jinhua was rushed to the hospital and his life was saved. But a sudden cerebral hemorrhage left him paralyzed on one side, and he could no longer speak clearly. As for Lin Hui and Lu Mingxian, with the evidence being irrefutable, they were taken away on the spot by the police for corporate espionage and leaking trade secrets. As she was being led away, Lin Hui was still screaming hysterically. Lu Pei, you will die a horrible death. I won't let you go even as a ghost. Lu Mingxian, however, was like a stray dog that had lost its home, completely silent. I watched them being pushed into the police car, my heart feeling not a single ripple. This war, which had lasted for 20 years, had finally come to an end. By the time I finished cleaning up the mess at the company, it was already late at night. I returned to the hotel and pushed open the door. I saw Su Bai curled up asleep on the sofa, hugging a throw pillow. She seemed to be sleeping restlessly, her brows tightly furrowed, and teardrops still clung to her long eyelashes. I walked over, gently took off my jacket, and covered her with it. She was startled awake, opening her drowsy eyes. Seeing it was me, she immediately sat up. You're back. Her voice was still thick and nasal. Is everything taken care of? Yes, it's all taken care of. I sat down beside her. From now on, no one can bully you again. She looked at me, a layer of mist welling up in her amber eyes. Thank you, Lu Pei. I raised my hand to wipe away the tear from the corner of her eye. Silly girl, I should be the one thanking you. If it weren't for her, I might still be in that cold home, feigning civility with that mother and son. It was her appearance that gave me the courage to break away from it all. I looked in her eyes and asked earnestly, Su Bai, are you willing to stay by my side forever? She didn't seem to expect me to say that. After a long moment, she blushed and nodded gently. I am. I smiled, a genuine smile from the heart. I leaned down and placed a gentle kiss on her forehead. Just then, the door was gently pushed open. Yilan Xia leaned against the doorframe, dressed in a fiery red silk nightgown that outlined her perfect figure. She crossed her arms, looking at us with amusement. It's me, master. The mission just ended, and you're already getting lovey-dovey with another little girl? Have you forgotten about your #1 contributor? Seeing her, Su Bai immediately hid behind me, like a frightened fawn. Yilan Xia chuckled, walked in, and sat down naturally on my other side. She extended a slender finger and lifted my chin. Master, your good-for-nothing brother is getting a little cold. Next, shouldn't you be rewarding me properly? Her breath was hot, carrying an alluring fragrance. I grabbed her mischievous hand, looking at the scene before me with a bit of a headache. One gentle and sweet, the other enchanting and seductive. But the energy bursting from my ambition was immense, and having them help me dissipate, it didn't seem like such a bad thing. I formally took over the Lu Corporation. Lin Hui and Lu Mingxian were finally sentenced and would spend the long remainder of their lives in prison. As for me, I moved into a seaside villa with my 2 succubi. With the best treatment, Su Bai's wings made a full recovery. She became more and more cheerful, like a flower re-illuminated by the sun, slowly blooming. She loved to draw, to bake desserts, and to curl up in my arms to watch movies. Yilan Xia, on the other hand, became my personal bodyguard and chief operating officer. Her methods for dealing with the old foxes in the business world were even more ruthless than mine. With her around, everything at the company was in perfect order, even more prosperous than before. By day, she was a queen with a powerful aura. By night, she would change back into the siren who loved to tease Su Bai and me. The 3 of us lived under the same roof. Life was chaotic, but also exceptionally warm. Today was my birthday. I came home to find the entire villa newly decorated. Su Bai was wearing a cute maid outfit, holding a birthday cake she had made herself, her cheeks flushed red. Master, happy birthday. And Yilan Xia had changed into a black chiffon gown, holding a glass of red wine, lounging lazily on the sofa. Master, for your birthday present, Will you choose me or her? I smiled. I hugged Sue Bai from behind and gave her a kiss on the cheek. I'll accept the cake. I walked over to Yilan Shah, took the wine glass from her hand, and drained it in one gulp. And I'll drink the wine. Opening my arms, I pulled them both, one on my left and one on my right, into my embrace. Outside the window was a brilliant starry sky and the boundless sea. I looked at the two succubi in my arms, completely different in style, yet equally stunning, and felt a satisfaction I had never known before. Only children have to choose, and I happen to be an adult. My dark cuisine and my top-tier delicacy. From now on, they belong only to me. The end.